Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're here for the first time, welcome, welcome. We are back to doing my new favorite thing, and that is renovating Vlad's house, or I guess giving him a whole new house. Because I've just been inspired lately to do this whole like, what if Vlad XYZ kind of a thing. So last week I did what if Vlad was eco-conscious, so I'll link that video down below if you want to check that out. It's also up on the gallery, and there is a sim makeover of Vlad to go along with it, also on the gallery if you want to check that out. I'll also leave my name in the description box, but it is atypical_lotus. So anyway, back to this house. So this is, as I'm sure you've already seen from the title, what if Vlad loved cats? What if he is the crazy cat vampire in the neighborhood? And to go along with that, I feel like it made sense for his house to be a more traditional style house. Like, it's just, when I had this vision, I envisioned him in like this cute fuzzy sweater with a cat on it, which is what he's actually wearing after I give him a makeover. And you'll see that at the end of the video. But, or maybe. You know what? I don't know if it's at the end of the video. I don't remember if I like spotted him during my little like slide through tour, but he was on the thumbnail, so you did see him already. Um, One thing about that, so with the last What If Vlad, I did a video of the makeover with him. For this one, I didn't. Just because after doing the last one, I didn't really see the point in doing it again. So I don't know, but he is up on the gallery and he's in the thumbnail, and then his like vampire form is a dog lover, because I thought that was totally appropriate that if Vlad's regular form was cat lover, his vampire form would be dog lover. So anyway, I am not very familiar with building traditional style houses. I typically do more of like a modern build, I think. I don't know. I'm not all that savvy on design types, but I'm pretty sure what I do kind of like leans more towards modern, and then inside is typically like very contemporary. So I mainly just stuck to a lot of the stuff that comes with the cats and dogs pack, and then for a lot of the artwork throughout the house, I pulled from the gallery, because there's a disappointing amount of like animal themed art that came with cats and dogs, and most of it is for dogs. There's not a lot for cats, and I never realized that before because I've never really gone that route and tried to like theme a house or even theme a room with that pack. I don't even really like a lot of the like buy items that come with it, so I typically don't tap into it as much. So this was a nice experience for me. So I did use a lot from that pack just because I felt like it did look a lot more traditional and not usually my style. And that's something like, if you do a lot of building, do you have a hard time sticking to like a style blueprint? Like if you're like, okay, I'm gonna build a traditional house or a modern house or whatever, like, do you have trouble sticking to that, or do you find yourself just like tapping into what you like all the time? Because I struggle with that. Like when I was decorating this house, I was like, okay, I have a very specific look in mind for the outside of it, but the inside I was just like, oh my God, like I had to fight every single urge to use what I typically use and to like use all of the Dream Home Decorator stuff, because I'm still completely obsessed with that pack and I use almost all of the things all of the time. But yeah, so I had a little bit of a hard time with that. I think it turned out okay. I hope you like it. Please let me know in the comments what you think. The house ends up being a 2-bedroom to 3-bathroom house. It's 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It's set up for 1 bedroom, but the second room, which is the one all the way off to the left, that like long skinny area, then that ends up being like a second room. I have it set up as like an office space because Vlad lives alone. And in my head, for This particular version of Vlad, I didn't really foresee him being like a family man in the future. Like he's kind of all about his cats, which is why on the gallery he's accompanied by 7 cats. Um, because like that's his thing right now. So it's one bedroom being Vlad's on the second floor with his coffin and like a cat house and everything. And then an office space, which could totally be used as a second bedroom. There is a master bathroom, and then there is another bathroom on the second floor for that second room, and then downstairs there's a half bath. So I feel like that's a good balance, I guess. I mean, typically I feel like I'd like to have at least like one bathroom for every bedroom, at least in The Sims, because I feel like they have to pee and they smell almost all the time. So I felt like that was appropriate. Um, I'm like excited to get to doing the outside of the house. I go back and forth when I build a lot. Like usually I'll do like some of the outside and then I'll jump and do some of the inside and then I'll jump back out and do some of the yard and then I'll jump back over and like finish more of the house. Like I'm kind of all over the place. But for this one I had not like a super specific vision in my head of what I wanted his house to be, but like I did a little bit, which is why I pretty much just complete the outside of the house and then go on to other things. One thing that's super annoying, and I don't know if this is just my game or if everyone else is having this problem, but I feel like since cottage living came out, I've had issues with my terrain tools sticking around. Like every time I put terrain paint down, um, I'll like exit the game and come back into it, and it's gone. And it's something I never really noticed because I'm not looking for it. Like I don't typically, you don't pay a lot of attention to the terrain paint, I think, when you're playing, so I didn't notice it until I had like popped out of the game because I had to stop recording for some reason. And the next time I went in to continue, at the very end, like I took pictures and I did like all these like little slide through tours. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't have terrain. What the heck? Like my whole front walkway was just gone. And I knew it was there because I have plants outlining some of it. So I just had like these random areas with plants. And I was like, oh, my terrain paint's gone again because this happens all the time. So the terrain paint that I start with here that you'll see in the speed build part is not what we end with because there's 2 that I like for outside and I couldn't remember which one I went with for this. So I ended up going with the other one because I liked the way it looked better. So what you see here is not what we end up with. But I mean, whatever, it's terrain paint. But let me know if that's something that you deal with too, because like I said, it's been happening to me almost every single time since cottage living came out. I messed around a lot with these flowers. Like I had this, you can see my too much gene kicking in there. I'm like, yes, let's put flower beds absolutely everywhere. And then I was like, no, that's a little much. But like I liked having several of them, but I couldn't quite decide if I wanted them everywhere or just like on the second and third floors. But here we go with the terrain paint. Like that's the one. I use this one a lot because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it looks best outside. And I hate the terrain paint that Vlad's Lot comes with automatically. Um, and I don't know why I didn't just go over and change it, but I didn't. Like I was just eager to start building, and then I noticed at the very end that it was like that, and I was like, well, whatever. It's still like a vampire neighborhood. Like it's appropriate, it works. But anyway, just doing some landscaping now. This is one of my favorite things to do. Like I honestly like I find myself doing a lot of patterns, and I don't know if that's like because I have ADHD and ASD that I appreciate a good pattern, and I like symmetry, not in everything, but in the landscaping I like symmetry and I like patterns. So I do a lot of that, but I've been trying to kind of veer away from it because I like the way it looks when it's like not as structured looking. It looks more natural to me, but yeah, I have a hard time with that. And as I said before, I bounce around. I did a little bit of landscaping and then I'm like, you know what? Let's work on the pool, which I thought would be really funny if it was the shape of a cat head. I had considered the idea of doing like a full-on cat, but decided I didn't really have enough space and it would have been awkward. So I decided to do just the head of a cat, and then I wanted to mess with like the lights and the fountain stuff and everything to make like a face so it was obvious that it was a cat. And I thought it would be funny if it had a face. So you'll see me go back and forth a few times between like build mode and live mode or live mode, whatever you call it. I call it live mode because it makes more sense to me, but I've heard a lot of people say live mode, and I think most people say live mode, but I like live mode. So, but yes, and then I add these little like cat cheekies on the side. There, I feel like it looks more cat-like, right? Like before it was like, is this a gremlin? Is this trying to be like Shrek? Like what is this? But now it actually looks like a cat. And then I'll put two little lights in for eyes, and then at nighttime it looks so cool. Like I absolutely love it. Look at that. And with like all the smoke from his lot, like I don't know, it's like it's sinister, which I feel like totally works because I don't know how many people are like, cats are evil. Oh, I don't like cats. Cats are a-holes. When we know that cats are the most majestic creatures on the planet, or at least Vlad does. That's all that matters here. This is another thing I find myself doing. Like, I completely fence off houses. I appreciate a good fenced in backyard, and I feel like it breaks up the lot a little bit. But again, I don't know, that might just be me. This house took so long. It took longer than I expected because I knew how I wanted it to be. Like I knew I wanted like cat stuff everywhere, and I kind of had the idea about the pool before I started building, so I kind of knew what I wanted, but it still took a long time anyway. I have kids and I have, a job and stuff, so I have to always record in shifts. Um, so I'll start off usually like really inspired and I'll record for about an hour, hour and a half, and then I have to stop because I get bored because ADHD is really fun like that. So I'll stop, and then when I come back into it, like the next day or maybe like 2 days later, I'm not as inspired. I go into it doing it because I know I already started it. So I'm compelled to finish it because I like posting to YouTube. Like I think it's fun. So I just go into it like still knowing what I want, but not as inspired. So I don't work as quickly. So this took me, I want to say like 4.5 hours to do the whole thing, which I realize is a ridiculous amount of time for the size of the house and for as like simple as the house is. But I'm also like, I don't consider myself to be like a super talented builder and decorator. Like I think I'm okay. Um, but it still just like takes me a while, and I second guess a lot of my choices because I'll go into it and be like, oh, I like this, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that, and I'll go back out and change things later. Here I go with the patterns again. But I tried to keep it asymmetrical. I love those little like tree bushes, but I try not to overuse them. I try not to overuse anything. This is something that always trips me up too, is like placing trees. I'm never really quite sure where to place them because like in real life, I appreciate a house that has a lot of trees. Like I like the shade. I think it makes the front look really nice, or even like the back of the house. I feel like it's private and it's cozy, but in The Sims, it's just like it blocks everything out. Like it doesn't look as nice. You can't, I don't know, like you can't see everything as well. It doesn't have that same feel as it does in real life. This is something I played around with a lot too. I couldn't get like a back patio area exactly the way I wanted it to be. Um, Ultimately, I decided to just not even do that because I felt like it looked stupid, and I was trying to find a way to make it not look stupid, but couldn't. So I ended up I left it alone. Um, we ended with just terrain paint everywhere, something that also disappeared after I'd placed it, but I think I go back to that same terrain paint if I remember right. But anyway, I'm going to leave that here. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video and stick around to the end to see the finished product. I have a cute little like slide through tour. So if you like what you see, please subscribe and leave me a comment down below. And of course, you can find this house on the gallery to download, and I will leave the link to the to our last video of what if Vlad was eco-conscious. And I will see you in the next one. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day.